British actor addresses challenge she faced playing adopted girl accused of being 22-year-old woman. In a case that gripped true crime fans and simply baffled plenty of people, the story of Natalia Grace has been made into a drama series. The Ukrainian was adopted by Americans Christian and Michael Barnett in 2010, believing she was just 6 years old. However, they ended up claiming she was actually an adult woman who attempted to murder them. And the British actor playing her in the new series on Disney Plus has addressed the challenge she faced doing so. Imogen Faith Reed had never even heard of Natalia Grace before she was cast as the starring role in Good American Family, alongside Ellen Pompeo and Mark Duplass. And when it came to scouring British media before her audition, she told Variety she only found one story. With the previous docuseries, The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, looking into the story, this Hulu series sees one episode shift to Natalia's point of view. In episode 5, it reaches the point where the orphan with a severe form of dwarfism is abandoned in an apartment. Playing the character came with various obstacles for Reed to overcome, from having to perfect an American accent to learning to move like the real Natalia to dealing with the emotional intensity. Variety asked the 27-year-old what the most challenging scene or sequence was for her in the heartbreaking 5th episode. There were multiple moments because it's all so intense. The scene between Mark and me was intense, Reed explained. The scene with Ellen was tense, but again, Ellen was so amazing and always asking if I was ok. She did such a great job in this scene. The actor went on to explain that it was also quite demanding physically, particularly when she had to portray the tantrum. But it was great to get those emotions as Natalia out. I had to commend the cast and crew because everyone was just so supportive, she added. The actor described playing the role as so heavy as she couldn't stay in Natalia for so long. Reed also spoke about wanting the real Natalia's voice to be seen and heard. It meant a lot to do it and showcase her pain, she said. I don't know if Natalia will watch it, but I hope she sees the light that I put into Natalia and the justice that I tried to fight for. Speaking to Entertainment Tonight, she explained that while she didn't personally speak to Natalia, she wanted to make sure she embodied such empowerment and made her version be seen with so much light. Good American Family is now streaming on Disney Plus. By now you might be familiar with the story of Natalia Grace, and if not, here's the quick version. In 2010, U.S. couple Christine and Michael Barnett adopted Ukrainian-born girl Natalia Grace and believed she was a young child with a rare form of dwarfism. However, the couple then alleged that Natalia was actually an adult sociopath masquerading as a child and claimed that she had tried to kill them. In 2012, they successfully petitioned to have her birth age put back from 2003 to 1989, meaning she would legally be recognized as an adult in her 20s, and left her in an apartment in Indiana as they moved to Canada. That's the story of Natalia Grace, though since then there's been plenty of developments to fill in the details, including more light being shed on how old she actually is. Natalia told her side of things in the documentary, The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, where she denied the allegations made by Christine and Michael Barnett and underwent medical tests to determine her actual age. By this time, she had been adopted by another family, and in 2023 underwent a DNA test to get some clarity on how old she really was. She went through DNA testing with the company True Diagnostic, which told her, based on all the studies and everything being analyzed, you're more close to 22, which is pretty close to what you think. You're almost 20. That's 2 years. When her adopted parents abandoned her in 2012, they claimed she was a 22-year-old posing as a child. But according to the DNA test, she would have been around 9 years old when they left her in an Indiana apartment and went to Canada. British actor Eliza Ramsay never expected her latest role to spark such an intense personal reckoning. Known for her work in period dramas and West End theater, Ramsay was recently cast as the lead in Stranger Within, a psychological thriller loosely inspired by real events. The story of a supposedly 8-year-old adopted girl accused by her new family of being a 22-year-old con woman. The controversy surrounding the real-life case gripped audiences worldwide, and the fictional retelling was no less haunting. For Ramsay, stepping into the skin of a character named Natalia, a girl caught in the crossfire of suspicion, mental illness, and media hysteria, was more than just another acting challenge. It became, as she described it, a descent into the abyss of identity. How do you play someone who doesn't know who they are? Ramsay, speaking from her London flat during a press junket, detailed the emotional turbulence of preparing for such a nuanced and polarizing character. I asked myself daily, is she a victim? Is she a villain? Or is she something in between? Ramsay said. What made it terrifying was that Natalia herself doesn't seem to fully know. And as an actor, that level of ambiguity is both delicious and maddening. Ramsay didn't just rely on the script to understand her role. She went deep, reading psychological profiles, studying cases of adoption trauma, and even speaking with forensic psychiatrists who had studied pathological deception. But what really unlocked Natalia for me, she said, was spending time with adult adoptees who had experienced attachment issues or been accused of being off or manipulative simply because they behaved differently. The physical transformation, I had to vanish. To convincingly play a child with dwarfism who could be mistaken for a fully grown adult, Ramsay had to undergo a meticulous transformation. Standing at 5'7", she spent 3 hours daily in makeup and prosthetics. Her cheekbones were softened, her posture adjusted, and she worked with movement coaches to reduce her gait to something more childlike. A tough sell for a woman in her mid-30s. But it wasn't just about appearing younger, she explained. It was about relearning how to experience the world with wide-eyed vulnerability and fear. Fear of being found out. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being thrown away again. Ramsay was also instructed not to speak above a certain pitch during filming. She practiced for weeks to develop a soft, slightly tremulous voice that wouldn't give away adult vocal maturity. In the beginning, it felt ridiculous, she laughed. I kept sounding like a creepy Victorian doll, but eventually it clicked. The psychological toll, I brought Natalia home with me. Ramsay admitted that this role took a heavier toll on her mental health than any she had previously tackled. It sounds dramatic, but I'd have dreams where I was locked in strange houses, with people watching me through the walls. I started journaling in character and couldn't stop even when filming wrapped. She described moments on set when crew members avoided her during breaks, not out of rudeness, but because they didn't know if I was still in character or not. One scene in particular stayed with her. It involved Natalia screaming to be believed as her adoptive mother accuses her of plotting to kill the family. There was something so raw in that. Not just about the accusation, but the idea that once someone has decided you're a monster, nothing you say matters. An actor's dilemma. Sympathy without sanitizing. Critics praised Ramsay's ability to walk the tightrope between empathy and ambiguity. Her performance was lauded as chillingly restrained and a masterclass in controlled chaos. I didn't want to make her likable, Ramsay said. I wanted to make her human. That's harder. If she's just a villain, there's no journey. If she's just a victim, there's no suspense. But if she's both, if she's shifting, depending on the lens through which you look at her, that's where things get interesting. Ramsay said that she and the director, Sophia Lenz, had long debates about how much truth to give the audience. There's a moment in the final act where Natalia looks into a mirror. We linger on her face, and for a second, you don't know what you're seeing, child or woman. That's the point.